Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Gemma Beall. Welcome to Beyond Second Cognition. Today, I want to talk about experience. I've been talking about experience a lot here lately. In one of the previous videos, I can't really remember which one, I talk about experience being the greatest teacher. Well, the other day, I had the video about time. What's that video called? This is why I hate doing off the cuff. Yeah, I'm going to delete this. In my video, the relationship with time, I talked about time in comparison with past events in our incarnation here. And one of the things that crew kind of related to me was about our ability to experience. And it got me thinking about experience. So today, this presentation is called Experience. A filter, a teacher, or both. Now, on my path, I have had a lot of experiences, a lot of metaphysical experiences. And those experiences range back from the time I was a kid, when I was a teenager, in my early 20s, in my early 30s, once I got on my path, and just about every day since I got on my path, I've had these types of experiences. And for a long time, I relied very heavily on these experiences and my interpretations of those experiences. And as I explained, when I wrote my first book, The Energy Experience, writing that book caused me to have to start going back and reevaluating my own experiences. And because I had grown in the time that I experienced it and originally interpreted it until the time I had written the book, I had to reevaluate a lot of my interpretations. And the one thing that is an absolute fact is experience is a great teacher. However, experience also becomes a very large filter. In a lot of the work that we do in hunting down energetic programs and removing them, I found that experience is a very bad filter and a very bad habit, because we have a tendency that once we have an experience, and this is not just a metaphysical, this has to do with our living our 3D everyday lives. Experience gives us a greater understanding, a realization of something. It's like, I know what it's like working at a fast food restaurant, so I am very empathetic towards the people who work there. I'm not mean to waiters and waitresses because I know that they have a very hard job. So that experience gives me a perspective that somebody who hasn't held that position is going to have. So that makes me more sympathetic towards somebody who's doing it now, but somebody who has never done that job is not going to understand the impact of what that job entails. And this is how experience can become a filter. It can be a great teacher, but it can also be a filter. Now, as you're walking your path, you too probably have a whole lot of experiences, especially with metaphysical things or spiritual things, and those experiences have become filters. And when you hear information that contradicts what you have interpreted as your experience, the first initial reaction is to balk at it. And a lot of people do this. And there's a lot of people that say they don't do this, but I guarantee you, if you're honest with yourself, that is exactly what you do. And I know a habit that I had was when I would hear somebody else's experience, it contradicted mine. The first thing in my head, I'm jumping, oh no, they totally misread this. And that's a habit that we all have because we feel like once we've experienced something, we become an expert. And this is the thing I really hate about the word expert. And I talked about this in my advanced teachings book. When you are on your path, you are your only expert. We have been conditioned to look outside of ourselves for other authorities, and we have all of these other authorities telling us what our experiences are and how to interpret our experience and everything else. And so we look to the experts to tell us what we experienced, why we experienced, and everything in between. And what I said in my book, The Advanced Teachings, is it's time for you to become your own expert. I am my own expert. Nobody else could tell me about my experiences. Nobody else can tell you about your experiences. And this I said before I understood exactly what filters were. Yes, I talked about filters in that book, but there was a lack of understanding that I had at the time. It's like the words were coming out of my mouth or my fingertips. I wrote the book, haha. But I understood it, but there was a realization I didn't have about it. And the word expert, even though that is what you're aimed to become, is your own expert, that is also a filter. Experts do not know everything because everything changes. Everything is not the same. Every new experience is a new experience, regardless if it has the appearance of being identical to a previous experience. And this is one of the things that my crew was trying to point out to me about past information. You know, in this book, I'm going to be writing about their experience. We are not going to be able to relate to those experiences. We're not going to be able to realize those experiences, partly because we live in a time that's different from the time that they had there. We are in an experience now, and everything that we experience through this form is limited to the lifetime experience of this form. Now, our PSOYCAs have lots of PSOYCA memories outside of this earth incarnation, but it seems like everything we do operating through this form gets relayed back to the filters of this lifetime experience. And because experience has a tendency to take one from understanding into realization, that's something that's severely going to be missing as long as we're using experience, this earth 3D experience, as a filter to interpret our PSOYCA experiences. As you're going through your path, start asking yourself questions about your experiences. And I'm not talking about the actual experience itself. I'm talking about your interpretation for the experience. Because, you know, whether you're trying to read your intuition, and this is one thing I said in my book, it's not, the spirit path or the PSOYCA path is not about enhancing your intuition. Your intuition is pretty damn good. However, where a lot of times we miss the boat on our intuitions is because we are trying to interpret it through filters. So as you discard your filters, your intuitions are going to give you more information because you're more open to what it's trying to show you or tell you, rather than you trying to fit it into your experiential box. You know, just like we have boxes for beliefs, we also create boxes for experience interpretations. And it's not the experience itself that we're putting in the box. It's how we've interpreted the experience once we've had it that we put in a box and use that as a measuring stick for the next time we have a similar experience. So it's like it's that same compartmentalization. So when we have a new experience, it's like, oh, wait a minute. You know, I experienced something almost just like this a couple of years ago. Hang on. So I'm going to go back to my experience interpretation box and pull it out and try to fit it on the new experience to make it make sense in my mind. And that's something that, if we were to be honest with ourselves, we all do this. And this is just another area that is so subtle in human habit behavior that we've really got to overcome if we intend to be able to grasp the big picture, past, present, and future. Is if our interpretations are limited to our past experiences, how are we going to create new experiences moving forward in the new paradigm? That's the big question. I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to welcome all our new subscribers. Until next time. No, there I go with time again. You know what I mean. Stay the course and don't give up on yourself.